and this meant that a great many forts would need to be built. We look at forts in various locations around the country. Like I said, there are far too many to list them all, as you'll see. I hope I've selected an interesting variety for everybody to have a look at. The cost of building all these forts around the UK must have been absolutely astronomical. How we could actually afford to build them all around that time during Victoria's around the 1850s, 1860s is must be amazing. The amount of work that it would involve also would in some instances been a good thing, I would imagine. Here's the defences around London. All those black dots you see, they're actual forts all around the protecting the port of London. And in the Solent around Portsmouth Harbour, see all those stars? Every star is a fort. How on earth could we support that sort of protection? Who knows? And around Plymouth again, another naval base where we need to protect our Royal Naval bases, and the number of stars around there, all forts, all built for the protection of Plymouth Sound. And Milford Haven defences. There's so many around Milford Haven, and because again it was a very important estuary, very important port for supplies to the UK. And the Medway defences, once again, so many more. There's so many hundreds of these forts all around. Here's one which is a little more local. Some of you, I hope, have been there. This is Flatholm Island in the Bristol Channel, and in there were nine rifle muzzle-loading cannon in Moncrief disappearing pits were placed on Flatholm Island. And we had a line of steel across the Bristol Channel. There was 3 at Lavennock Point, 9 at Flatholm, several at Steepholm, and more again at Breen Head. A line of steel right across the Bristol Channel, all Palmerston forts. The ones on Flatholm Island were in the pits with the Moncrief disappearing gun carriage. Oh, don't know why we went back to that. It just asked me to admit somebody. I see this is the Moncrief carriage, which is on Flatholm Island, and in those pits, the pits were 10 feet deep and 18 feet in circumference, and in there was the 7-inch rifle muzzle-loading cannon. The cannon was loaded down in the lowering position, and once it was loaded, it could be raised up to fire at the enemy or not, as required. There's Moncrief looking at his cannons. So many of these cannons were built for use around the country. 64 of the 7-inch ones were placed around the country, but only the ones on Flatholm were true to the Moncrief system. And there's the cannon, the 7-inch rifle muzzle-loading cannon, one of them there out on Flatholm. There's the installing those cannon. They are so heavy; they're 7 tons in weight, and they are so well built that the ones on Flatholm, various metal scrap metal dealers have attempted to start to cut them up, but they're so expensive to cut that it's not economical to do so. So only 2 of them have been cut in half because they are so much solid metal, and we'll be looking at them in more detail. And this is what the rifle muzzle-loading cannon was designed to actually fire, with this Palliser shell. This is a 7-inch Palliser shell. These studs on the side would engage with the rifling, which would then cause, when it fired, it caused it to spin as it came out of the muzzle of the rifle muzzle of the cannon. Contained within it, in the void within it, be about 1.5 pounds of gunpowder, which is designed to explode on impact. That's the Palliser shells, And there's some Palliser shells outside of one of the ports on a truck ready to be delivered to the various cannon. Now the cannon, the shell had to be fired using a cartridge, and this is the cartridge store actually on Flatholm Island. It says the cartridge store for the 7-inch gun. So the cartridges had to be different and separate. And there's the barracks on Flatholm Island to house 150 men to man these nine cannon on Flatholm Island. And in the foreground there, you can see the wild Welsh leek, which is quite unique. There's a group of the Flatholm Society out on Steepholm, alongside the cannon there, with a similar barracks, almost identical to the one on Flatholm, was built on Steepholm. And Breandown Fort, the other fort across the Bristol Channel. That's our line of defence right over the Bristol Channel. Now we move around start moving around the country. This is Chapel Bay Fort. And once again there you can see the cannon just up there. That is a 10-inch cannon, much larger one. And George Gare has put it on a disappearing gun carriage out on Chapel Bay Fort. Built in 1890 to protect against the French throughout to World War I and World War II. Never a shell was fired in anger, but it still played a major role in World War I. The guns were used to guard impounded ships in the Avon. The Royal Navy, blockading the western approaches, brought captured ships to Milford Haven to be guarded by the quick-fire guns, and so they were moored or anchored in the Avon, and these guns were there ready to fire should they try to escape or they try to get them back out. Now this is St. Catherine's Fort at Tenby. Again, this is another one of the Palmerston forts. This was designed so what's in Tenby to be protected, we say, except that it is a seaside resort, we know. But this was designed to protect the beaches around Tenby, to prevent the enemy from landing on the beaches, so then to move across land to attack Milford Haven from the rear. So this is to prevent a land attack on Milford Haven. And so that was got 3 casemates, 9-inch rifled muzzle-loading cannon on the roof, and to cover the beaches to protect Milford Haven. 2 carponiers and 150 men will be barracked in that particular fort to protect the beaches. So built to protect Pembroke Dock and Milford Haven from land attack. Casemates both north and south, each was 3 7-inch rifled muzzle-loading cannon facing through the iron shields. We talk about iron shields a bit later on, and the actual the makeup of iron shields, but they're really important to protect the guns from fire from ships. 2 rifle galleries protect the waste space and the entrance of the fort. So that's another means of another way of protecting one of the major ports. This is Fort Albertson, seen from the sea, and each one of those what looks like windows they're actually the casemates for the cannon within. Fort Albertson, it was from Albertson, and named after a Viking leader, Ubber. The Jarl Ubber of the Vikings named the village behind, and then the fort was built during the 1860s. And these are the rear of the gun casemates. That's where the guns will be there looking out to sea. Thorne Island Fort. Garrison of 100 men, built in 1860, with 5 7-inch rifled breech-loading guns. This was a major breakthrough because breech-loading guns could fire much faster than the other guns, than the muzzle-loading cannon. So the breech-loading cannon were much faster, very quick-firing guns. In 1894, a ship with a cargo of whiskey was wrecked on the island. What happened to the whiskey? I'm not sure. And it became an hotel in 1947. And a lot of these forts are being used now as hotels, and a lot of them are up for sale. You can actually buy yourself an island to live in, should you wish to do so. Say Thorne Island, built to protect the entrance Pembroke Dock, seaward-facing battery, 5 7-inch rifle breech-loading guns, and 4 68-pounder guns, had a defensible barracks on the landward side, and several ships were wrecked on the rocks around the island. And one of them, I said, was a cargo of whiskey. I'm sure any soldiers on the island and in the barracks would really have enjoyed that. This is Stack Rock, another one in the Avon. And once again, all the casemates around the side, there's several cannon through those casemates. And that as an island can be bought as an island. And I believe that one has been bought and is actually being lived in. It's a breech loading mechanism which made it so much easier, so much faster to load these cannons. You could slide the Palliser shell followed by the cartridge in there, close the breech, and you're ready to fire. Much easier than attempting to load via the muzzle. So this became then a quick firing gun. That's another unique bit of a defense mechanism. Cliff Fort in Kent. It was because it was then singled out for a special means of defense. Protecting the entrance to the Thames, it was equipped with a Brendan torpedo, the world's first guided missile. Guided by wires from reels attached to the torpedo. The wires unreeling from within the torpedo provided the propulsion for it, and control was provided by applying pressure to the reels, and consequently it could be guided towards the enemy ship. Our first guided missile, a Cliff Fort, the Brendan torpedo. And there's that's the remains of the actual slide down which it would slide into the sea. There's the entrance to the fort. Now we move down to Plymouth. And Plymouth was particularly well protected by various forts, so many forts. You usually found the Sound by Boversand Fort and Crown Hill Fort, and the number of guns was actually tremendous. Iron shielding. Now each of the casemates required iron shielding to protect the plates. Naval researchers found that 4.5 inches of iron plate, backed by 18 inches of teak, covered with 1/2 inch of iron skin, was able to withstand shot from a 64-pound smoothbore gun at a range of 400 yards. This was thought to be suitable for warships. With the development of the rifle muzzle-loading gun firing an elongated Palliser shell, this could punch its way through 8 inches of iron at 1,000 yards, and a 10-inch gun could penetrate 18 inches of iron. So they begin to look at the ideal form of shielding which was required to protect these cannon within the casemates. This was a sandwich construction with a series of plates separated by elastic material, often called iron concrete, a mixture of iron swarf, asphalt, bitumen, and pitch. And these shields were inserted in the artillery casemates, which had granite sides, to protect the cannon within the casemates of the forts. Fort Beauvisand, Plymouth, 23 granite casemates with armored shields housing 22 9-inch rifled muzzle-loading cannon and one 10-inch rifled muzzle-loading cannon. In 1898, 12 quick-firing guns were installed, i.e. breech-loading cannon, and the 1900s earlier guns were removed. There's a breech-loading cannon peering out through the casemate. The shielding around the casemate can be seen there with the actual daylight through that opening. It's a breech-loading cannon. It's found that the casemates of most forts filled with vast amounts of smoke when fired. Captain Moncrieff of the Edinburgh Artillery came up with a solution by installing guns in open air pits, as the ones on Flatham Island. He designed a gun mounting with a counterweight system. The counterweight lifted the gun to project over the rampart. The recoil of the firing brought it back down again. Moncrieff pits can be seen at some existing forts at Portsmouth, Plymouth, Milford Haven, Cork, and of course Flatham Island. But the only gun pits that fully followed the Moncrieff intention were those on Flatham Island in the Bristol Channel. 65 were installed in the UK. A full-size replica has been constructed at Townhill Fort in Plymouth, which we can see there. That's the full-scale model that is designed, that was built in Plymouth, a replica. But that is showing a breech-loading cannon as opposed to the muzzle-loading cannon. And there it is again. You can see the breech-loading mechanism at the rear. Drake's Island, Plymouth. Was used by Charles I initially as a prison on the island, and then as an observatory because of its darkness, I assume. In 1860, was then installed with high-tech advanced guns, which I assume to mean would be the breech-loading, quick-firing guns. That's on Drake's Island again, protecting Plymouth Sound. So we had major forts protecting Plymouth Sound. Again, a very important naval area. North Fort Weymouth. Again, they're protecting the port of Weymouth from attack from the sea. These are the casemates. Each one of these would have held a cannon. They've been converted now and enclosed to prevent further deterioration, but that would have been the casemates. And once again, they would have been protected by this casemate shielding, which you talked about earlier. This sandwich of pliable material. That's a 12-inch rifled muzzle-loading gun. Again, it's an enormous gun. We will look at the manufacture of some of these guns, all made at Armstrong in Woolwich, and a major manufacturing business there. And it took a lot of people. Pendennis Castle in Falmouth, I've been to this one. And this had quick-firing guns. Again, it had a rifled a breech-loading cannon there. Henry VIII decided to protect the entrance to Falmouth, and he built the castle at Pendennis and one across at St. Mawes, a similar one, a sister castle at St. Mawes. That's the quick-firing gun at Pendennis Castle in Falmouth, a breech-loading 6-inch disappearing cannon. There's Pendennis Castle, built of granite, and is in good condition today as the day it was built by Henry VIII. I'm saying there's a sister castle across the other side of the estuary at St. Mawes. Sorry, that's my clock striking 11. An unsuccessful scheme to make the Isles of Scilly a naval base, building 2 batteries, Woolpack and Stevel, accompanied by defended barracks armed with the other quick-fire guns on the Scilly Isles. And that is the Woolpack Fort on Scilly Isles. See how it's surrounded by a ditch and a ridge, which protects the actual gun emplacements. That's Fort Roner Keep entrance, and here are some of the soldiers required to fire the cannon. And there's what are known as carponiers, who would then be would carry small arms to defend the area as well as the obviously the cannon. Now we move to Martello. We don't move across to Suffolk now. Martello Towers. Several of these were built around the south coast, and they were built in such a way the cannon were up on the roof. And this is the way they were laid out, with the gun platform up on the roof, officer and men quarters below that, powder store and supplies below that, food stores and water tank. And in some of them, they had their own water supply from an artesian well. Even the ones on an island out in the Solent, some of them would have their own water supply by a well which had been drilled below the tower. As you see, several Martello towers, all built for protection of the country throughout that period, for fear of attack by the French, which never really happened, and none of the guns were ever fired in anger. There's Solent Fort's No Man's Fort in the No Man's Fort in the Solent. Give me a minute. Built to protect Portsmouth Harbour from attack, and as you see, it's currently into an hotel, and there are the visitors to the hotel, all standing waiting to be picked up, and brought back to the mainland. There's a tender which then would bring people in or take them back. Solent Port, No Man's Port in the Solent. Dover Court Battery holds two 80-ton rifled muzzle-loading guns. 80 tons. When we think of just how they were built. Hurst Castle. Again, looking at the various casemates and the way these things are built to protect the country. Port Albert Isle White. Horseland Fort Portsmouth. Again, another one built the same way as the No Man's one, and again used as an hotel. And these things are changing hands now. They're being bought as hotels, and you can buy one to live in as your own particular island. You can buy yourself an island with things like this if you wished. If that is the way you wish to live, you can buy yourself an island. This is Horseland Fort showing the gun floors. Horseland Fort split into three levels. These stored armory and guns. On the top was a lighthouse. It had its own artesian well for fresh water, and the seaward side was covered with heavy iron armor plating. So we'll stop for a little break. Has anybody got any questions?
Yes, but Peter, all the Martello forts and the Palmerston forts are all built at the same time, were they?
They were all built around the same time, yes.
Right, okay.
They're all known as Palmerston's Follies.
Right. Palmerston was the bloke that
Lord Henry Palmerston was the Prime Minister who was commissioned in the 1860 to build all these forts and protect against attack from the French.
Are there any forts for, you've got the ones in Flatholm, and I know there's at Pembroke, in Pembroke. Any in between?
Any in between?
Yeah, and Pembroke.
But I say we got the one at Tenby.
Yeah.
I don't know of any at Swansea area.
No, there's none. Yeah.
No, I don't know of any at Swansea area. I haven't seen anything of Swansea area. It was mainly to protect the major ports. Milford being the major port of the area, and once again the 7 ports of Cardiff, Bristol, Avonmouth, etc.
Yeah.
So obviously we need to protect those.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Great. Good. No other questions from me anyway.
You seem to be the only one there at the moment.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. That's okay. Sorry.
No, I'm finding it really.
I can only see one. I thought, oh my God, the others have left. So, what do you think about up to now?
I'm enjoying it because
building all these ports must have been absolutely astronomical.
It is. I mean, I've spent many years going to Fort Nelson because the Royal Armoury is there. I only live down the road, so it was a good place to take my son at weekends for free. but my daughter works for the NHS, and they're based in another fort on Portsdown Hill. So they've actually stuck the NHS data servers actually inside the fort.
Well, the use of the building, and why not? Yes, if it can be used successfully for that, for as a hospital or whatever. But yes,
and I think another fort has been turned into an equestrian centre along the top of Portsdown.
All right,
but it is quite an impressive building. I mean, the one in Fort Nelson, you've got an underground manufacturing area for shell making as well in the centre of the fort, which is it's well worth going to see.
Would they have valued the Palliser shells?
Yeah, they had the rooms to actually make the shells and actually put the cartridges together as well.
Oh, I'm right. Yeah.
Where is that, Henry? Where's Fort Nelson?
Fort Nelson overlooks Portsmouth Harbour, so it's off the M27, and you basically go up onto Portsdown Hill, and you literally start passing fort after fort. You know, they're literally a mile, 2 miles apart.
Okay.
And the museum there is worth going to see because of the artillery, and also they've got guns from the Mary Rose that they're restoring actually there as well.
No.
But they've also got a train gun, which is actually mounted on an actual train from World War One. It basically fits inside a whole building.
Okay.
Good. There's one of the forts, and there's a steam-driven torpedo boat.
Never realised I had them.
So the Needles battery. See the cannon there facing the sea.
I've walked up there.
Have you have?
That's a long. Yeah, it's a long walk uphill.
Oh, was it? Fair enough.
Well, that saw more action in World War II, that did.
Yes, well, a lot of them probably would. Yeah, yeah. There's the old Needles battery. There's the old cannon. That I would say that's about a 10-inch. And once again, muzzle loading by the look of it. Port Amherst at Chatham. And that Brendan torpedo to protect the Medway as well at Clipfort. That's quite amazing the way that was built. They were going to put one on Dalefort down at Milford, but it was turned down and they built it up at Clipfort instead. But some of the guns are amazing. And here's Langard Fort, Felixstowe, Suffolk. And here we can see the iron curtains that protected the protected the casemates with the cannon behind, and you can see the thickness of it, where we said it was a sandwich of iron concrete, if you like, iron pilings with bitumen, asphalt, and pitch, and sheets of iron to protect the guns within. So we look at the variety of guns deployed around various forts, many shapes and sizes. Fort Perch defending the Mersey. You see, we even protected the Scousers. A 9-inch rifled muzzle-loading cannon. You see the size of it, and the size of the actual shells which were put in it, and the number of people required to maintain it and fire it. And we look at this. This was developed at Dale Fort in Milford Haven. It's the Zielinski dynamite gun. It's an air rifle. It's powered by 2,000 psi with the air pressure. These air pressure containers here were they're pressurized by a steam-driven air compressor. And there's the dynamite fitted shell. It could fire 1,000 pounds of dynamite by air at the ship or whatever. The barrel is 17 meters long, and it is just an air rifle. That's all it is, but a very big air rifle. And these were fitted in. And again in Dale Fort in Milford, and it was tested. It was fired at a redundant naval tug in the haven, and it sank. It didn't explode, but it sank it. So being hit by 1,000 pounds of dynamite didn't do it much good. It did sink. But it was when Nobel invented dynamite, where you could have nitroglycerine and highly explosive material and put it into a shell, and then it needed to be fired. But you couldn't fire it by explosive powder. It had to be fired by air, and consequently that's why the Zielinski dynamite gun was produced, and it fitted and used on test on one occasion from Dale Fort, requiring 2,000 psi of air to actually discharge the shell for about 2.5 miles. Like I said, it was fired at a redundant Admiralty tug, and it sank it. But in 1905, it was thought to be uneconomical. It was dismantled and taken back to New York. So that was the Dale Fort secret weapon, the dynamite gun. Here's a 13-inch mortar. Now the size of those mortar shells, who's going to lift them to actually load the damn thing? They are so big, so heavy. It's almost an amazing thought that this thing could actually fire a ball that size. There's a breech loading cannon, 6-inch, as one was in Pendennis Castle in Falmouth. 64-pounder rifled muzzle-loading cannon. And the cartridges for the rifled muzzle-loading guns. These are the cartridges. This picture is taken in Pendennis Castle in Falmouth. I took this photograph myself, but it does show the way the cartridges were stored within an aluminium shell. The bag of gunpowder was stored within this aluminium shell. To be used, it would be taken out of the shell and then inserted into the cannon, either by muzzle loading or breech loading. I had some more pictures there somewhere, but like, well, that's gone much quicker than I expected, actually. As we've seen, there's a countless number of these forts all around the British Isles, all sorts and sizes of weapons. As we've seen, most of the large guns may be supported by small arms and armed by carponiers, who would be armed with small arms for land-based attack. Each, of course, will have its barracks and with the support and infrastructure that was needed. Now, let me. There were some more pictures I wanted to see, but there's a slightly different. I'll have to minimize that. Sorry about this. Right, I can't get these other pictures, sorry, but so I'm sorry, but that's it. It didn't last as long as I expected. I expected it to last over an hour, but there we are. We're almost up to an hour. Has anybody got any other questions? As we look at
I found it really interesting. You've brought to life something I've been going to look at for years, and I passed many times on the ferry going to the Isle of Wight, the forts. So, yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Peter. That was interesting. Yeah, very good. Great.
Okay, I'm not as pretty as Karl, but there we are.
Oh, that's fine.
You talk more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it went a bit quicker than I expected. I didn't expect it to be quite as quick.
No.
Actually, it works well for me because I've
Karl is ringing me now.
Oh.
Hello. Yep, okay, we will do that. We'll do that, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I will do. Yeah, we'll do that, Karl. Yeah. Yeah, we will. Yep. Okay, bye, Karl. Bye. He's been listening.
Right.
He said we'll take quarter of an hour break, and then we'll come back on and talk about Flatholme and Steepholme and probably Milford Haven in a bit more detail. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we take a break.
So I'll have to disappear in about 40 minutes. So
okay, Henry, right. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yep.
If you want to finish, then Peter, that's fine by me. We can all go then together.
Well, Karl's a bit concerned of cutting it too short, but so we'll have a break and then we'll come back and have a chat and then we'll finish when Henry
quality,
goes.
not quantity, Peter.
What's that?
Quality, not quantity.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, we've got a bit more to say about the Milford and Flatholme, so we'll come back with that.
Okay, lovely.
So we'll take 10 minutes to past.
Okay.
All right. Oh, right. I go.
Hello.
We've got a few pictures of the Armstrong the foundry at Woolwich, a building of some of these guns.
All right.
Can you see this picture that's in front of us at the moment?
No.
No.
That didn't work for
It's
some
not
reason.
right.
Oh, right. See that now?
Yeah, yeah.
So this, I say, this is for the foundry, and look at the size of this gun which is being manufactured. And if you look at here, you can see the boots of someone who was actually up inside the barrel of the gun. This is the size of the cartridge which have been used in that, and that would be the material that was used to lift and carry the shell and the cartridge.
Wow.
Yes, amazing, aren't they?
Mm. Yeah.
I just wonder how much noise you'd actually get off that.
Oh, yeah, yes. I was at Elizabeth Fort in Jersey, and there the tour guide demonstrated the firing of a cannon and the firing of a musket, and the actual noise from both of these was enormous. The noise from the firing of the cannon, and then when he demonstrated the firing of the musket, as he said, only right-handed people could fire muskets because of the position of the trigger and the
because the hand flash would go into
yeah,
your face.
that's right, and the flash, and it was amazing, and the noise from the firing of the musket was tremendous. How you would stand that firing them, time after time, was amazing. Here's another picture of them building the cannon, and I'm not sure what he's doing there. That's all part of the. Now here's the firing of the furnace with the metal in the furnace, and these are all the people who are actually on. It looks like they're on the barrel of a gun by the look of it. I'm trying to get to the next one. Well, I can't see my face on there at the moment, but we'll see.
We've still got the same picture.
I'm not sure what's happened there, but still. All right, let me minimize that one. And we go to the next picture. Oh, can you all see that?
Still looking at the same picture.
Sorry?
Still looking at the same picture.
Still looking at the same picture, okay. Screen sharing is paused, it says.
Oh,
Right, there we go. Right, now. Well, with a bit of luck now. There. Can you see that one?
No,
No.
it's just your file of photographs.
Oh, all right. Okay. Minimize it. You see all the photos. You can see that list of all the photographs there, can you?
yes.
See two rows of photos. One row.
Yeah. I tried to open it. So I can see it. And nobody else can. That's a shame. Never mind. Sorry about that, but there we are. That's a shame. Why can't we see that then?
I don't know if you double click on the image.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all sorts of things are happening to the photo, but nope. Mm. Can you see this one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
so there you can see them actually trying to load the cannon, the number of people it takes. I can't show these pictures individually. I don't know. Let's try another one. Nope. That's Plateau with Avengers goalposts. Do you know about Avengers goalposts?
We've still got the same picture, Pete.
You still got the same picture, right? Okay. Why? You still got the same picture now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry about this, but it's not happening the way I would like it to. There's so many pictures here. But I can't seem to change them for some reason. Why, I don't know. Is that visible to everybody or not? Probably not.
It's the same picture.
Mm. Yeah, I don't understand why it's the same picture. I'm changing the picture, but it's just showing the same. There we are.
Oh, mind.
Oh well, sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm getting messages from Anna saying if you go out of
Stop the share.
out of share and and go back in again.
Okay. We'll try that.
There you are, different picture.
Different. Oh, you can see that now. Good.
Yep. It's like a factory scene.
It's a factory scene. It's the Woolwich Arsenal. And what they're actually producing there, like they're producing shells or something, I would say. Now, how do I get to the next picture? Now, if I minimize that one, I come back to this one. The one I really want to show you, not that one. That's the blacksmith. We've seen that one.
We're still looking at the factory.
Still looking at the factory, yeah. Mm. Yeah, it's not changing.
There you are. It looks like a foundry.
Oh, that one came through. There we go. Now we'll come back to flat home with a bit of luck. This Avengers goalpost. Captain David Benger was so concerned when he had the young soldiers with their anti-aircraft guns. As they were coming down firing at the aircraft, they would shoot the top off the lighthouse. So he installed the Avengers goalpost to prevent that. So as they came around, they would have to raise the barrel of their gun so they couldn't possibly hit the lighthouse. Can't even get back to my Platon picture. Right, I'll give up on that. And has any of you actually been out onto Plato?
No, I was going to ask how can you get out onto flat?
Well, hopefully there will be visits coming up now shortly. There's the Cardiff Bay Island Voyages are one company which are running boat trips out to the island, and Cardiff Cruises is another one who's using the old Lewis Alexander boat to take up to 40 people out to the island at a time. And hopefully that we will supply a tour guide to take people around the island.
Oh, good.
Usually with a tour guide, as you go around the island, you initially go to the pit, the Moncrief pit, take you down into the pit. You can see the holding down bolts from the original cannon there. And then you come around to the Second World War anti-aircraft gun pits. You see the Moncrief gun, and from there you come across to the Marconi, the Marconi monument. And with the Marconi monument there, obviously the first ever message sent across water was sent from Flatholm to Lavenock Point, giving the message, "Are you ready?" And Marconi, from that point, he then went to Lavenock Point, sent a message right across the Bristol Channel. And that was successful. So then he went down to the Isle of Wight, sent a message 17 miles out to sea to a ship out at sea, 17 miles out. That was successful. Then he went down to Poldhu Cove in Cornwall, where he met my grandfather. But down there, he was setting up to send a message across the Atlantic, right across St. John's in Newfoundland. And there he required enormous aerials built to send the message. And he used the local fishermen to erect those aerials. And my grandfather was one of those fishermen.
There was a documentary on the television about that recently. About all the aerials.
Was there?
Yeah.
Good. But Granddad brought back 4 glass knitting needles for my grandmother to knit with. And they were in a cupboard, in a drawer in Cliff Cottage for all those years, and nobody could understand why Marconi would need glass knitting needles. And until I went to Flatholm and saw the picture of Marconi on Flatholm using a rod to depress the Morse key because of the extremely high voltages that he was using to create the spark, to create the signal.
Yeah.
And we realized the glass knitting needle was used to depress the Morse key with the knob at one end, point at the other, about 1/2 inch thick and about 1 foot long. These keys were designed to prevent electric shock from depressing the key.
They did a reenactment on this documentary on a smaller scale, but apparently you can still see the remains of where the power station was, where they generated the immense voltage to do it, and where the area was stretched for miles. I think I can't remember.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I went to Poldhu, to the radio station at Poldhu, and they were showing a video of it, and they said Marconi started at the Isle of Wight, and I got most annoyed with them at that point. So I said, no, it didn't start at the Isle of Wight. It started on Flatholm Island. The first ever message across water was from Flatholm Island.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure if they've added that to their video now. But
no, they didn't mention Lavenock or Flatholm. No.
There we are.
I thought that's strange. They didn't mention that.
Well, yeah.
But that's there we are.
That was the first message. You're right. Yep. And of course, out on Flatholm, as I said, we had these 9 Moncrief. But Flatholm, through the years, there was a bronze axe head found on Flatholm, which meant that there would have been people out there between 900 and 700 years BC. So it would have been at least occupied during that time. The first known occupation goes to St. Cadoc. St. Cadoc was out there in the 6th century, and he was out there with 2 other bishops, and Gwalchys and Barrack. On one occasion,
the Welsh name for Flatholm before, what is it again?
Innis Ecny.
Innis
Ecny.
Ah, right, that's right. Yeah, you said, yeah.
Yeah, Innis Ecny. Or Brandon Realize, the Saxon name for it.
All right.
And of course, Holm,
Viking, isn't it?
Holm is Viking, yes. Yeah. Holm is the Viking name for an estuary island.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you've got Steepholm, you've got Flatholm, you've got Grassholm, and Stockholm down in West Wales. So you've got all the various homes. Yeah. I say St. Caddock, he was out there, and on one occasion he came back to. They came back to Barry, and he found he'd left his book behind. His book was apparently very important for him to give a mass in Llancarvan Monastery. And he was to do mass there. So he sent Barrack and Gwalchys back to Flatholm to retrieve the book. They went back to Flatholm, they retrieved the book, but on their way back to Barry, their boat capsized, and they were both drowned. Gwalchys was washed up on Flatholm Island and is buried on Flatholm. But Barrack was washed up on Barry Island and is buried on Barry Island. There is a chapel on Barry Island dedicated to St. Barrack. And we believe that's where Barry got its name from St. Barrack.
Right.
Now,
at least I learned something.
In 1066, we had the Battle of Hastings, and poor old Harold got an arrow in his eye. But then, after the Battle of Hastings, his mother, Gaitha Thorkild's daughter, she to mourn the loss of her son, she came to Flatholm Island. She came with various other wives of other knights who had also been killed at the Battle of Hastings, and she stayed there for some time. That is recorded in the Saxon Chronicles, that she actually landed on there and stayed there some time, and then she went off to St. Omer in France, the mother of King Howell II. And then, of course, we had we moved forward to two of the Knights Templar who killed Thomas of Becket. They're also buried out on the island. So when they were initially, after they killed Thomas of Becket, they were banished to the Crusades. And when they came back from the Crusades, they didn't want anyone to know who they were or what they'd done. So they came to a place like Flatholm to live for the rest of their life in seclusion. And they were buried out on Flatholm. That would be Sir Reginald Fitners and Sir Hugh de Morville, we believe, are the two Knights Templar which were buried out on Flatholm Island. So the place has got so much history attached to it. It's really just keeps going on forever and ever and ever. And then, of course, we had the Queen Victoria and the Palmerston forts building all those pits and those cannon. And you see that I had pictures of hundreds and hundreds of cannon actually being laid out at Woolwich. I can't show the pictures, sadly, but there we are. They were all forged at Greenwich, and say that a couple of them have been cut in half, and see the amount of metal in them when they've been cut, and it was so uneconomical to cut that they're still there on the island. One of them, I believe, has been taken away and was put at the apprentices' cottage, the apprentices' college at Chepstow, and is still there mounted, I believe. And of course, we come through the Second World War, and the anti-aircraft guns that were out there. There was as many as 300 men out there at any one time. And the Kohler Hospital then was in use as the nappy for the troops on the island. So they converted one half of it into a concert room, and one half of it into the nappy, with a screen showing hole through the nurses' station into the concert room with a screen, and they could have a film once a fortnight to entertain the troops. And occasionally you get a concert group would go out to the island to entertain the troops. But they would be there performing, doing their dancing and singing, and all of a sudden the place would empty and all the soldiers had gone. And of course, there'd been a call to emergency, call to arms, and everybody had to go to stand by their their weapons ready to fire at the enemy. But they say the Kohler Hospital was used then for that, and was still in really good repair then. But sadly, at one point they took some of the tiles off the roof to repair the farmhouse roof, and that led to the deterioration of the Kohler Hospital to the state which it's in now. Thankfully, we've got some HLF funding now, was going to help to secure what's left of the Colour Hospital and repair the Victorian rainwater catchment area, which was the only supply of water on the island, and then and repair the foghorn roof. So that's Flatholm. Like I said, an amazing place. Fascinates me.
Sounds like it'd be worth definitely going out there to see.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's certainly worth going to see. Yes, absolutely. Trouble is, once you go, you're infected. You want to keep going back. I can't wait to get back out there. I normally take out working groups through the summer. I haven't been able to do it last year or this year because of COVID, but we go out and we stay over the weekend in the farmhouse, in the dormitories there, and carry out various maintenance jobs required on the island, and then enjoy things like the nighttime on the island. It's a beautiful place at night. The stars at night are amazing because it's once again it's a dark place. Even the light from the lighthouse is just a beam, so it doesn't reflect on any of the island, so you get a beautiful night sky. So it is a wonderful place to be.
Good.
Right, I think I might have to disappear. So
Well, I
thank
think
you
I've
very
come to
much
just about
today.
the end now. Yeah.
Right.
So thank you, Henry. Thank you, Goff.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
Anna.
very much.
Peter?
Nice to see you both.
Yeah, thanks,
Yep.
Peter. Good.
That's okay.
Nice
I'm
to see-
glad
very
I'm
much.
glad
Nice to
it
see some
was
human beings.
worthwhile listening to.
Yeah, well done. Great.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.